Hello, folks, and welcome back to Your Emotional Soundboard. Yes, this is the first time I'm saying the actual name of the podcast. Wow, does she know how to run one? Should I So I thought, look at me planning stuff. I thought I could look up a bunch of awkward or miscommunicated, just like really interesting text that people have submitted online and see what we can just see what the response is and what we maybe would we would do in that specific situation. I can say I have sent a few of emotional awkward texts. Uh, I'm trying to think if I've ever accidentally sent something to someone. I have. I've definitely liked a picture or liked a post. When you're stalking you're internet stalking on someone's page, or you're internet stalking on like their second cousin to see photos of themselves on their page. Maybe I'm just crazy. But then you're like on your 20th page photo down and accidentally hit the like button, and now they have a notification on their phone that you liked a photo from like 400 weeks ago, which is just crazy. I don't know if anyone else has had that experience. That has happened to me way too many times. People wonder, maybe you should just stop internet. Maybe I should stop internet stalking. Who knows? So we're going to see what the internet has in store for us for these. These are very older. They're not recent. I wanted something from like a while ago. So I went searching for the archives. Actually, this was literally like the first thing that came up. Did not spend a lot of time. Oh my god, I'm really bad at reading. Why did I pick this? Okay, so this person says, a friend of ours texted her 20-year-old son, my panties are soaked right now, thinking she was sending it to her husband. He texted her back, do you want me to bring you new ones? Oh my god, I feel like I would die. Oh my god, I would fucking die. I feel like this one's so embarrassing because it's a family member. Like, sorry, you just saw a picture of my freaking vagina. Oh my god. I feel like every person in my family has accidentally seen me naked at this point. That sounds horrific. Oh my. I think my go-to response would be like, did you send this? Is this meant for me? Is this a mishap? I feel like that's scarring. That might just be me. Oh my god. Let's go on for that one. I didn't read the family part of that. A friend of mine attempted to text me, you should fuck Laura. Instead, he sent it to Laura. Oh my god. I've done that before. Not like the details, but like you meant to send it to someone else, and you literally just you're talking behind their back and you accidentally just send it to them straight to their face. This one's more acceptable because I feel like if you were talking shit and you're like, oh my god, Laura's such a freaking bitch, and then you send it to Laura, I don't think you can recover from that. This one, oh my god, it's kind of degrading, is it? It depends on who the person is. They might see it as like really degrading. They might see it as funny. Let's hope it's funny, because oh my god, I want to see the response to that. What do you say? It's probably gonna be like one of those like rude sayings of like, only in your dreams. It's not that rude. Okay, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Was texting my best friend about some girlfriend issues at the time. Said something to the effect of, it feels like I'm just waiting for her to break up with me. Accidentally sent it to said girlfriend. She was currently in the same room as me. Watched as she looked at her phone, looked at me, then took me outside and broke up with me. Oh my god, that was horrible. Have you seen like that viral video where this girl they're like trying to like, was it like cliff jumping or something? And she's like really anxious to go out or to like jump, and her boyfriend literally just pushes her off the cliff, and then as she's falling, she's like, I'm breaking up with you. I feel like this is the same type of energy. This is horrible. I feel like it could have been worse. He didn't say, I want to break up with her. Like, oh, I can't wait to get rid of this girl. It was like, oh, I feel like I'm just waiting for her to break up with me. That could be... Okay, that could be two things. That could be either he's done with the relationship and he doesn't want to end it, or he thinks that she's done with the relationship and doesn't want to end it. Oh, that just does not sound good. At least that got resolved. Oh my god. That's such a way, like, I've definitely known people, like, the way they've broken up with people is, like, you know, through a friend. Like, tell blah 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 that we're done. Which, like, is that an okay way to break up with someone? I feel like depends on the level of your relationship. If we're, like, at, like, toothbrush at their place stage, I feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's that bad. I feel like if you're, like, straight up, like, living with someone, or it's, like, really serious relationship, then it gets into the problems. But, I don't know. I feel like it's just really disrespectful if you're putting, I feel like, if it's that, like, you put that much time and effort into a relationship, into a person, and then you don't want to actually, like, it depends on how it ends, too. Like, if someone's cheating on you, you do not have to end that. I feel like you have the full right to, like, walk away and not have to, like... It's obviously, it could help you. You don't have to, like, sit one day wondering, what if this happened, would I be happier? But I feel like that could be... You could be playing that game with no matter what decision you make. And rant over. This one's so bad too. Okay. Oh my god. The most embarrassing for me was actually one that I received. I had a second date with a girl, and a few hours before the date, she texted me, "Whatever happened to the guys that gave us butterflies?" She texted back saying it was not meant for me, then stood me up. Oh my god. You know exactly what happened. This girl literally was mortified, and then she literally just 100% disassociated with you, which is fucking horrible. Oh my god, this is... Can you imagine? I think this all happened because this girl was afraid to say, like, oh, I'm not into you. Which is horrible because it escalated so far, and this person probably was, like, really excited for this date. I feel really bad. Oh my god. Honestly, it's not that bad of a thing. Like, this is literally the only thing that if you get caught, then it's bad. Because she was literally just like, oh, I'm not feeling it. Which is honest, and it's not like she's like, oh my god, this guy looks like a complete piece of shit. Or, that's not even a good phrase, like, he's not like, oh, this man is unkept. I don't like the look of this person. Like, she was literally like, oh, I don't feel anything. Which sucks, because she put it on the person. And I don't think it's, like, their responsibility to make you have feelings for them. Which, that does sound a little bit, ugh. But then, like, you have to confront that conversation. You have to follow up. She didn't literally want to even deal with the interaction after that. I feel like this is so hilarious. It's not hilarious, because I feel so bad. But, oh my god. This one hurts. Sent a text to my girlfriend asking for some nudes. Actually sent it to my mom. She was coming to visit the next day, so I couldn't even hide. Still comes up at family gatherings. That's horrific. That's something that you're gonna get mocked up for the rest of your life. Hey mom, you want some nudes? That's like literally calling your teacher mommy. Like, you're never going to live that down. And cause it's like there's nothing perverted about it at all. It's just horribly, horribly bad timing. It's so funny. Like, oh my god. If this happened in my family, like, this would be laughed about for the rest of our lives. I once got this text from my boss. I hope you fucking die. I know I wasn't the intended recipient, and she later sheepishly explained that I'm right next to her ex-husband in our contacts. But I was surprised that it still packed an emotional wallop. What? Oh my god, I've had people, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I've had people say a lot worse. But, like, the fact that they're in that position is the issue. That would scare me. I'm not swear to God, that would scare me. A lot of these people are just accidentally telling their family they want to fuck them. Okay, we're ending on this one. A girl I had just met texted me asking for a ride. I said, sure, tonight I'll be somewhere in your ass. Except that I meant area and autocorrect blessed me. And then my phone died for like 3 hours. This sounds like you're going to go to jail. Like, oh my god, I would be so scared. Oh, this is terrifying. Your phone died for 3 hours. This is the type of thing that my phone wouldn't die, but I wouldn't look at the message, and I wouldn't realize that I autocorrect sent ass, and I would just go about my day. And then somehow I would get a response be like, what the fuck? Oh no, I literally just accidentally said something really creepy. I'm sorry. Oh my god, this would kill me. I would die. These are horrible. So I guess the moral of the story is click before you send, because it could be something that you don't actually intend to send and scar someone. So I was thinking about, I feel like everyone knows about this one. Like, I think, like, I don't know how, like, exact this is, but I feel like everyone is aware of it, and that's, like, it's 5? The 5 love languages. So there's words of affirmation, like, saying someone's, like, I feel like it could depend on each person. Like, saying someone's beautiful, complimenting them, making them feel good about themselves with words is the, I think. And then there's acts of service, so like cleaning for them, making them a meal, giving them a ride, receiving gifts. That could be anything from like receiving like an actual gift to like, I feel like I feel like that one doesn't have to be materialistic. And I say this because I know there's like a large percent of the population where it's not like really realistic for them to shell out like an extra $2,000 after for whatever date they have. Not that I'm shaming you if you do, because that's crazy. But if you can't, I don't think it's like the end of the world. And then there's quality time, which is definitely one of mine. Obviously, obviously that sounds so weird. I think that one's just literally just like spending time together, like being together. There's like I think this is actually for children, but it's called parallel play, and it's literally when like two people are just in the same area and they're doing completely separate things, but they're just in the same area together. And then physical touch. So that could be, I feel like that can be anything from like romance to like maybe sexual. I feel like I think intimacy when I think that one. So I like hugging, kissing, cuddling. Why do I sound like I'm about to cry? They said that this only actually proves communication, not actually making people happy. But I feel like that's the whole thing of this is like understanding and how to like go around all this red tape to figure out how to make someone happy. Because sadly, when you meet someone, usually they're not going to hand you a manual and be like, how to make me happy. These are the things you do to make me happy. Like, that's not going to happen. So then you have to kind of like guess what you have to do the right thing by getting to know them. And then you figure out, okay, she's happy when I say she's beautiful. So I need to tell her she's beautiful more. She's happy when I kiss her. So I should kiss her more. Like there's different type of things for different type of people. And I feel like learning that for someone specifically, it's like I don't think it's a one size fits all. And I feel like that's why people get in such difficult situation, because figuring out what someone needs and what someone wants can be one of the hardest things to do in a relationship. And then the modern society that we live in today, people don't really communicate. There's people that can't communicate. And then, like, we kind of have set up an environment where it's not cool and there's no space for people to openly be vulnerable and communicate. So it's created, if I had to say, like, the number one problem I think in almost any relationship can be communication. Like, if you can find me a relationship with someone who has like no problems whatsoever, it's gonna be someone that has no issues communicating, like none whatsoever. Not that like that's the only issue, but it's literally one of the main ones, and I feel like it's a common one in almost every relationship because it's a really hard thing, even for people who have been in a relationship for a long time, especially when we're talking about disclosing about stuff that is very hard for you to open up with anyone, let alone like a therapist. Now you have to open up with like every single person that you meet now. Like, it can definitely be very daunting. And I feel like this was just made as like a blueprint to basically just read your partner and figure out what they need. Which is helpful because I feel like my brain, how it works, I'll be like, okay, there's a problem. What do we need to do to fix the problem? So I know mostly people think emotionally, so they'd be like, they react to the behavior, right? And I'm like, what's the cause? Is usually how my brain works and how I try to think about it, which is like, instead of like, let's not look at the side effects right now. Let's see what's causing the side effects. Because if you're just treating like the side effects, nothing's gonna actually get fixed. And there's obviously times when you're in a relationship when you're just like, my goal is not to fix anything. My goal is to feel better right now by lashing out on someone. Which, when I say it like that, sounds horrible. But I understand that it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. It's extremely hard. And I'm definitely not, it's hard not to judge when you're also in that state. But I'm not a person to usually judge someone while they're in a volatile state or they're having trouble processing what they're feeling. So I feel like most people like instinctually just react to like the behavior, the side effects of whatever happening. And I always try to like think about it. I mean, I'm not always right, but I literally always try to think about it. Okay, like, what is causing this? What is like the root cause? Because if we can fix this or we can make the cause better, then the side effect issues, the things that we are having trouble coping with as well, go away. So it's hard to always be in that mindset of that phrase that I always say of, is this going to make me feel better or is this going to fix the situation? Because there's a lot of points in life when you're not able to think about someone else while you're in distress. That phrase of like, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you have not filled up yourself and you're not complete, there's no way you can help someone else. It's not going to happen. So I feel like I try to operate in a state of grace. Not that I'm like trying to enable the behavior and make it okay or make people want to act out in that specific way. But it's so hard to shame someone while they're in a state of struggle. I don't want to enable someone, but I don't want to shame someone again. Let me just repeat, while they're struggling. Like, I don't think that's going to help at all. I feel like let's figure out what's causing this, and then maybe this won't happen again. Maybe that's just how I operate, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be their parent, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, some people are not as blessed to have but to have an environment where you were raised and taught how to behave in society. There's a large percentage of people that are not raised like that, and there's honestly not a lot of help to give you information on how to do it when you're already out in society. And even if there was, there's not a huge incentive to make people want to do that. So I feel like I'm not going to be the person to say, I'm not your mom, I'm not going to do this, I'm not your blah 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 blah. That's not who I am personally. Especially when I look at something and I see that this is something that you're severely lacking in, I'll try to help you. And I know a lot of people think it's enabling, and then a lot of people don't even think it's the responsibility, is where the I'm not your mom comes in the program. But in my head, if you made that commitment to be with that person in a relationship in any state, you've made a commitment to be with them while they're struggling and while they're thriving. And I feel like most people at the beginning stage, like, they want the honeymoon phase. Me talking on no knowledge whatsoever. But I feel like the best parts in a relationship is to see how you guys react and how you guys work together when you guys are struggling. Because I feel like it's so easy to love someone when you guys are both thriving. It's so easy. But then I feel like that's when you see actual love, is when someone's struggling and you actually have to get down on your knees and get dirty and get into the same environment, however their struggle is, to show your love. And I feel like that's the hard part. That's the difficult part. That's the part that sometimes people can't maintain in. And obviously there's people that are doing behaviors that just don't need to be happening, whether you're in a relationship or not. And I feel like when you're in a relationship, it just highlights that. So I don't know. It's hard to say the line of, like, do I allow this behavior, or am I making it worse by not trying to stomp it out? I don't think stomping it out is ever good. I don't think anyone's going to listen to that. I think it's, okay, this is the problem. This is why this is a problem. Let me try to solve the problem. How are we going to solve the problem? I've never been a fan of, like, let me just attack the problem and it's just going to go away. Because I just don't think it's going to work. I think it's easy, and I think it's what we're taught to do, and we're taught, it's one of those things that's passed down of, like, when you think of, like, okay, why are we spanking this kid? Okay, because we were taught to do this. This is what our parents said. This is what teaches them to, like, not do this, right? But I'm like, okay, what is the actual evidence, not evidence, but, like, what is the theory behind this? What is, like, the scientific proof that you guys have found that this actually works and does no damage? And there's none. At least that 90% of society will tell you they've looked into. And it's because it's the thing that they've been taught by their parents to do, and in their head, because this isn't grooming, but it's in the same line. I wouldn't consider it grooming because it's not the intent, and the intent is the same, is what is the issue. But you basically have someone that can do no wrong because you've created such a bond, an emotional connection, that even if they're doing something that is detrimental to you, or the other way around, you're still going to view them in a specific way because of how the period of time that they helped you in. And that's why it's almost so difficult to call out your parents' behavior. It's so much difficult to stop a cycle, because almost stopping that cycle is saying that something that your parents did is wrong, and something that they did to you scarred you, and saying that while they're right in front of you is very daunting and scary, and you're worried about their well-being. So there's so many generations that I feel like are doing stuff they don't necessarily even believe is the right thing to do, but they're so worried on what's going to happen if they don't do it. And I don't know how we fix that, because when that has been solidified in your head for so long at that period of time, I don't know if that can be unlearned. It's like learning a new language at, like, 70 years old. It's possible, but it's, like, probably one of the hardest things that you can do. Versus you go to a child and you teach them, like, 8 languages, they can pick it up like that. Because their brain is like a sponge, and it's so it's so absorptive. I'm making up words here. But then, you go to someone whose brain has aged and matured a little bit, and it's extremely harder for them to pick up these skills and for them to learn new things, because our brains are basically already, like, wired that way. Like, I don't know the actual country this was from, so I won't quote it because I don't want to give you misinformation. But they used to do foot binding. So they would literally, like, put these people's feet in these tiny shoes when they were younger. So much that their feet, you can look this up right now, just Google foot binding. Their feet were permanently formed in a different state because they were kept in that state for so long. So literally, they can take off their shoe, and maybe there's a surgery that they can find. I don't want to know what what they're trying to do to someone against their will. Not. But when with somebody trying, but these people's feet are literally permanently damaged to a point of no return because of where they were brought and raised in. And it's really disheartening. It's really upsetting because it's just like, there's so many people that are maybe damaged to on no end. It doesn't mean that they're less than, or that they're not as, that someone's better than them, but it's just like, there's nothing we can do. There's literally nothing we can do. And I don't know, I feel hopeless. I wanted to talk about the difference between hurt and disgust, which I feel like doesn't need to be talked about. I feel like a lot of people like to make comparison, and I feel like they're two completely different things in my head. I feel like someone's hurt is like your emotional state, you're like sad or you're vulnerable, right? And I feel like when someone's disgusted, it's like rejection or someone wanting to like distance from you. If that's right. I feel like they're both wrong, but here's like my like the difference. I feel like hurt has like a little bit higher on the pedestal. I feel like when someone's intending to hurt someone, obviously intent is not always mattering when hurt is the issue, but when someone's like intending to do harm, so they're trying to hurt someone, I feel like depending on the person doing it and the situation they're in, the person getting hurt is the one, I don't want to say victim. The person doing the hurt is the one in the wrong. And I feel like when disgust is in the way, usually the person that is disgusted is in the wrong. Like, they're the one that is, like, the judgmental person. And I feel like the two get, like, combined very easily, even though there's, like, a pretty huge difference. I feel like disgust does have some valid reasons. Like, I know there's just some people are wired different ways, and some people have a lot of traumas, and there's just very valid and justified reasons on why you would feel a disgust, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Same with why you would want to hurt someone. This very just like, I view it in my head, and I'm so much of an emotional person. When I see like a 25-year-old man screaming at me, all in my head is I see a like 6-year-old boy screaming at someone and using me as a vessel to do it. That's how I see in my head. And I know that's like making excuses for people, but that's literally how I view it. I view someone who couldn't stand up for themselves at the time, or couldn't defend themselves, being able to, and then overdoing it because of their trauma. And I know that's not everyone's specific situation, but that's one of the main reasons why I'm so accepting of people lashing out in specific situations. Even though it does cause hurt, I do think I don't think there's anything wrong with people, and I don't think that necessarily they should be the one that's the one in the wrong in something that they are currently trying to process. Because I feel like some people think, oh, you're going to go to therapy and you're going to be magically fixed. And like, I always think, what do you think these people do in therapy? What do you think is being done on there? That they're giving them this magical chemical so that they never feel sad again? Like, that doesn't happen. A lot of this stuff is people working through and processing things and figuring out why it hurts. Understanding why it hurts when you feel pain in your stomach helps you. It helps you understand what's going on. When you're lactose intolerant and you're getting massive stomach pains for no reason, and then they come and tell you, hey, you're lactose intolerant, this is why this is hurting. Sometimes there's situations you can be like, okay, you know what, I could take this, or I could avoid doing this, or I could fix this, and guess what, my stomach doesn't hurt anymore. But then there's also situations where there's like, okay, let me ease your comfort. There's not much we can do, but we can help you process this. We can help you we can ease this load for you, And I don't want people to think, oh, I'm going to feel like this for the rest of my life, which is not true. But I don't want people to feel like, oh, therapy is a magic fix and you go to therapy and then you're no longer hurting no more for the rest of your life. Like, that's not going to happen. Even if it does work, it's an ongoing thing that you're going to have to continue to pursue, maybe for the rest of your life, depending on who you are. I feel like it's on the level of sobriety. I feel like there's maybe a portion of the population that thinks that people who get sober are literally, you do it once and then you're done for the rest of your life. This is something that this person has to think about constantly for the rest of their life. This is forever altered how their thinking is and how they're going to have to operate because of something that probably happened to them. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like people need to have a little bit more empathy. I hate saying that because I understand wholeheartedly why some people don't. And I just feel like maybe if we can create environments where people understand why situations are going on. How many fucking eureka moments I've had in my 20s, in my literally like almost, am I in my late 20s now? When literally, not a child, of literally being like, oh my god, I never knew that. And then when I figured it out, it's like almost everything in my life made sense. Literally. You figuring out one thing makes everything in your life almost like fit together. Because you're literally like, holy shit, that is exactly what I needed to know. Because it doesn't fix everything. But you're looking at almost everything in your life that has happened in a different light. Of like, oh, that's how I viewed that. That was definitely in a skewed view from a very small viewpoint of what I got to see. And I feel like I'm always, throughout my whole life, maturing and thinking, oh my god, I'm so mature, I know everything. How ignorant was I years ago? Like, that's literally what I think every single year. And then you look back in 5 years and you're like, oh shit, I was not, I did not know anything. Half the shit I thought I knew was wrong. Like, I don't think there's ever a chance when you stop learning and you stop absorbing. Because it's like you have a doctorate in a specific degree, and then someone comes up to you and they're in a completely different field. And someone's like, well, but I have a doctorate. And then there's other people that are be like, but I can learn more. I could get another one. I know nothing about this topic. And that's also something that is like along the toxic masculinity, where it's almost people are made ashamed to voice that they don't know something. Like, they're literally made to feel bad about something that they have no control over. I wanted to talk about unrequited love for a bit. Which, I don't know if you guys knew, it actually literally lights up the same thing as, like, physical pain. Which sounds freaking scary as hell. So, in case there's anyone that doesn't know what unrequited love is, it's literally, like, you love someone, but maybe they don't feel the same towards you. Which I've definitely felt before. I don't know if anyone has. It is probably one of, like, not the worst, but it's, like, I would say it almost feels like someone's cheating on you. Like, it's that type of overcome of feeling. Which is the only thing where I'll distance myself and I'll be like, basically trying to check myself and be like, okay, I'm looking at this analytically and technically I shouldn't be mad here. They haven't technically done anything in the wrong. So literally me holding this person accountable for something that my feelings I've never felt comfortable doing. I have this real, yes, I have issues of someone like consenting to something that they don't actually want to consent to is my issue. So pressuring someone to do something because I feel something literally makes me feel like shit. So it's a no-go for me. And normally I try to distance myself because it's really hard to be in the same environment that with the person that you're in love with who doesn't feel the same. And it's hard because, like, obviously we talked before, there's like separate layers of you can love someone, but then it's a completely different thing to be in love with someone. And I feel like unrequited love is like just a freaking recipe for rejection and pain and suffering, which is not fun. So I feel like it's so hard because I have such sympathy for people, and I have such for both sides of this situation, and that's the issue. I wish I could be like wholeheartedly on one side or the other, but I feel for both of the people in the situation, which makes it really hard to figure out who's in the wrong and who's the person that should be respecting the other person's feelings. I feel like it just hurts so much because now you have like someone telling people that you're like delusional and you're imagining a whole one-sided relationship, which is so helpful. And I think it's usually for how people end up lashing out, which is so sad because when there's like three sides of this, or like it's a scale, I would say. So you have the extreme left side of the scale. So those are the people that are innocent, like so extremely innocent that it makes people want to protect them. And then you have like the middle ground, and those are people that are literally like just, I would say, decent people. Like you don't really think they're like really good, but they're not really bad. They're just people that, you know, probably you would say is like the normal everyday person that you would run into. And then on the far right side of the spectrum is people that are maybe traumatized, or people that are raised in a specific environment. Just the end product is just something that offends a lot of people or hurts a lot of people. When that person, that the issue with that is the fact that no one wants to help that person out. Like the side of that spectrum is literally, when something happens to you, it's justified to happen to you because of the way you've acted, which is so hard. And then I've been in circumstances when like someone's like maybe perceived as really innocent, and then they act out in that certain way. It's almost like every like I don't know, you could say like accommodation that would have been provided for someone in that specific situation gets taken away completely. And it's horrible because it's like it's usually like someone that needs it desperately, but it's just based on this person did XYZ, so I'm not going to do XYZ. Which obviously if it's like, you know, the extreme measures like murder or like sex, you know like things that are like very unforgivable, we could have a different conversation on if redemption is worth it. But it sucks because it's literally mainly the other two that get help when something happens. And not that that should be that's not that that's justified or how that should work, but that's how it ends up happening. And then the left side of the spectrum, we could say, literally probably gets literally ostracized by society because the right side doesn't get help. So it's literally like, isn't it equal balance, or have we made an equal balance of this person struggles, so this person struggles, so it's equal? Which I don't know if I like that's how like our go-to. It sucks because it's literally like, I feel like that's made for the viewpoint of the person of who has been punished severely every time they've done something, and then they look at someone who's been in the exact same position and they've never gotten a slap on the wrist, and so they start internalizing in their head, is there something wrong with me? What is making people like, what about it is making this person act this extreme for me, but completely ignore this other person? So I feel like when you have that type of person and you present a scenario where you're punishing someone completely innocent just to reverse the situation, it does kind of make them feel valid, which is horrible, because I wish we could just create an environment where like none of that was happening. Like if I feel like if this person isn't getting fed, the solution isn't to take away food from this other person. I feel like if this person isn't being fed, the solution is to make sure the person gets fed. But it's so hard to do that when someone views themselves or society has made them view themselves in a specific way. And obviously I feel like the left side needs to be protected. I feel like when people are so innocent, it creates like a bubble that makes them very susceptible to manipulation and people using them and just not understanding motives and understanding that yes, someone could be doing something transactionally and not give a crap about how you feel personally or emotionally. And I feel like that's why people, the protection is also there, is because a lot of people think in their eyes that they're not able to protect themselves. And I think the fear of them not being able to protect themselves leads people to protecting them for them, which also creates a ripple effect of what we've just talked about not feeling equal and someone feeling like they don't get the same level of support because maybe this person's not as vulnerable, but maybe they're literally getting no help whatsoever based on how they act, which is not fair because this person is only receiving help because of how they act. Did you guys know that there's like a doomsday clock? So this was like created back in 1947, I think. And it's basically about it's supposed to show you like how close we are to like the end of the world. There's like a bunch of different reasons. Like I think right now it's like nuclear tensions, AI risks, in climate crisis. The AI one scares the crap out of me. When I'm looking up at this right now, I'm like, okay, so are you guys telling me the fear is the fear? I'm probably like perceiving this way wrong. But in my head, I'm like, okay, the computers are going to attack us, right? Is this turning into Terminator? Literally, if AI is literally coming to get us, it's creating a mind of its own. Should we stop this? Like, if that's the fear from scientists, I don't. Is it AI or like the stuff that AI brings? But they literally think that it's going to end the world. And this is coming from 100% scientists. And as of this was like I think it's 90 seconds to midnight, which it's not moving that far, but it's moved back and it's moved forward. It's like it's as I said before, it's based on like a bunch of different shit on like what they think the classifications of the world would end on. And it can literally be from like someone bombing us to literally AI to climate crisis, which is like crazy not ice storm. I don't think we could all die from an ice storm. But you know, like the ice age. Stuff like that. So they basically compile all those risks and they calculate how close we are to the world ending. I don't know like how accurate it is, but it's supposed to basically say how close we are to the end of the world. I don't know if it's supposed to be comforting or like security theater thing. Because I don't know if you guys knew this, but like the security at like TSA when you go to airport actually does nothing. Like the security measures that they do to like stop terrorist attacks are not actual security measures. It's literally all security theater, and it's supposed to be there to make yourself feel bad. I think of like obviously like I gotta stop quoting. I was gonna do a Buffy quote of like she carries a stake around with her 24/7 as like her security blanket. And it's not. I mean, it will help her, but it's literally just there to make herself feel safe. It's like literally someone carrying a gun, which might actually cause risk to you, but your choice. It's literally like someone carrying a gun and being like, okay, I'm not going to use this, but it's just going to make me feel safe that if anything happened, then I would be okay. So it's the TSA is literally posted. Their whole job is literally just to make people feel safe in case anything did happen. Like it doesn't actually stop any attacks from happening. I was gonna go longer, but my laptop is freaking out and I did not prepare that well for this, so I'm gonna end this really quickly. And as always, all my All my links will be down below if you're watching on YouTube.